Greetings and welcome, loyal viewers of this channel, and yes, that includes the disloyal viewers who are now being lumped in with the most loyal of the loyalist. Today we're going to talk about a situation involving Matt Walsh and a bunch of people who are not on the left. Most of them consider themselves right-wing, and a lot of them are actually pretty right-wing on issues related to the transes, and this weird back and forth that's going on related to comments that Matt Walsh made about one Dylan Mulvaney. Now, for those of you who are completely unaware, who get all your information from me, Dylan Mulvaney is an activist, a transes activist, who produced a series called like A Day in the Life of a Girl or First Day of Girlhood, or whatever. We haven't talked about this person on this channel because I find these videos extremely obnoxious, and for whatever reason, due to the fact that TikTok cringe is something that the Biden administration actually embraces, Dylan Mulvaney was able to become a famous person and go to the White House to talk about trans issues based on this video series. Now, the interesting thing about this, and the reason why Dylan ended up generating more controversy than other transes typically do, is due to the nature of this video series, which seems like it's a parody of women, and you just have to see some of these clips to understand it, so I'm gonna play one for you that really drew a lot of attention.
Day 66, being a girl, and today I'm in nature. Trees, I love them. Water, lakes, I love them. Heels, they're my hiking heels. I love them. Okay, come on. Meadows, love them.
Now look, obviously because I plan to put this video up on youtube.com/my YouTube channel, I have to state for YouTube's terms of service that Dylan Mulvaney is both stunning and brave, and the stunning and bravery can only be outdone by the bravery and the stunningness of one Dylan Mulvaney. However, for those of you who actually, understand what's being shown in the video, one can't help but notice that maybe some of the reason why Dylan ended up generating so much controversy is because it appears this person is depicting the most negative, ridiculous, bimbo-like stereotypes of a female, and if not for the transes label being stamped on top of this, this would be considered highly offensive. I mean, if you just had a regular guy, not a stunning and brave activist, a stunning and brave transes activist, dress as a woman, wear high heels while camping, sounding as ditzy as possible on purpose, people would actually find this quite offensive to women. But because of Dylan's stunning and braveness, obviously this is not offensive. Obviously this is something that should progress our civilization forward. Obviously we should be thinking about Dylan Mulvaney being the first person to be on Mars, because that's how society is functioning nowadays, and we all have to acknowledge that. Now, while my channel is actually quite progressive, the most progressive channel in the history of YouTube, some of these other people have made the points that I previously made, and they have been hypercritical of one Dylan Mulvaney. In fact, some of the people featured in this video by Matt Walsh are people who in the past criticized Dylan. And for those of you who have this backwards way of thinking, for those of you who find it absolutely ridiculous that somebody is presenting themselves as living the life of a woman and then going hiking in high heels, which is something that women don't do, and nonstop talking about periods, which is something that women don't do and is considered among the most offensive misogynistic stereotypes that you could possibly put forward, this was actually brought to the forefront once again when it was revealed that Dylan ended up having that facial feminization surgery. And it's not necessarily the surgery itself. People expect people in the transes community to get stuff like that, but it was Dylan's statements afterwards about how Dylan could now, because they're so beautiful, steal anybody's man, that really set off a bunch of alarm bells.
Day 335 of being a girl, and I wanted to go on record to say that this might be the hottest I've ever looked and will ever look in my lifetime. And I'm making this video so that in thousands of years, there will be evidence. Is it the dress? It could be the dress. Is it the makeup? Or is it the hair? Because I think it's the extensions. And when I have extensions in, I don't know my name. I don't know where I live. I just know that I love these. And I know that I look like I could steal a husband, but I want to promise you, look me in the eyes. I want to promise you that I would never do that to you. Okay, I am a girl's girl. And I love ya. Woo! But seriously, this is good, right? Okay.
Now look, of course, I don't see appearances. I don't make any adjustments on appearances. In fact, I'm gonna remove my glasses for the better part of this segment, just so you know that I can't see anything that I'm showing you on screen, even though that's definitely not how editing works. That being said, obviously, this produced a response. People were, in fact, annoyed by the fact that Dylan, who was playing a ditzy, dumb broad, and it seemed like it was a negative stereotype of women, has now transitioned, get it? Transition, transes, to playing a harlot who's like, I'm gonna steal your man. Again, another negatively offensive stereotype of women put forward by this trans activist who was invited to the White House to basically represent both women and transes and push Biden to allow children to transes, because don't you want to be like the stunning and brave Dylan Mulvaney? And if only I was as stunning and brave as Dylan, I would definitely go for it as well.
Dylan Mulvaney is intentionally degrading women every time he does this woman-face minstrel show routine. He is insulting and demeaning them and doing it on purpose and profiting off of it, and he doesn't care. And since I have 2 daughters and a wife, I take this kind of thing personally, which is why I have to say to Dylan, if that is the most attractive you will ever look, then I don't even want to imagine what you'll look like when you're at your ugliest.
Now, this led to Matt Walsh saying some things on the internet.com. The clip was posted to Twitter, and it was viewed millions of times. And then, because Matt Walsh said things like Dylan Mulvaney isn't in fact all that beautiful and isn't in fact all that attractive, a bunch of people who, again, typically cover these issues much more than I do on my channel, started getting mad at Matt Walsh for being mean and preaching only to the choir.
I get where he's coming from, because like, I have so much contempt for these people, and the more that this drags on and the more that they denigrate females, the more that anybody denigrates females, the more angry I get and the more contempt I have for people who participate in that, in whatever form that comes in. I don't know if there's a necessity or a point in just being like mean.
Here's my take on it is, and I, obviously I'm much softer generally, but like, there's nothing he said that isn't true, but it accomplishes nothing.
Yeah,
all it does, it's just so mean that like, it won't resonate and it won't change minds.
All right, now, because I'm not going to be showing any more images of Dylan throughout the course of this segment, and I actually want to see, I'll put my glasses on. And essentially, Matt Walsh was confronted with a bunch of people purportedly on the right wing, making these criticisms that he was too harsh, too mean, too nasty to Dylan Mulvaney by not saying Dylan Mulvaney is attractive enough to steal people's husbands.
And I will absolutely say, yeah, it's mean. Yeah, Matt Walsh is being mean. I mean, come on. Matt Walsh insults Dylan Mulvaney as eerie, weird, and bizarre. You can get the point across without saying that.
The major divide on this video is whether or not the language was a little too harsh towards Dylan. You guys know me. You watch my show. You know how I talk about these issues. I am on the side of this being too harsh, and I know there are many who will disagree with me. But to me, there is no need for vitriol.
So here's the thing. I'm going to tell you a little bit of secret about me over on this channel. I actually don't like personally insulting people. That's something that I, on my own, am not in favor of. However, if you hold the position that Matt Walsh and a bunch of the critics of Matt Walsh that he showed that are typically on the right wing against Dylan Mulvaney, as you view Dylan as playing this parody of a woman, first a ditzy, idiotic broad, and now transitioning into a harlot, I don't understand your criticism of Matt Walsh for being mean to Dylan Mulvaney. This is not somebody who's just randomly posting TikTok videos, which, by the way, is when most of these people started covering Dylan Mulvaney as a person. This is somebody who has been to the White House. This is somebody who has not only gotten a platform via TikTok, but is being put forward as a major voice on this issue by the mainstream media, and it seems quite reasonable that this person is worthy of scorn and worthy of criticism, as Matt Walsh laid out in his response to all these people, again, who are typically on the correct side of these issues.
You'll notice the connecting thread. Okay, they all agree that I'm right, that what I said is factually correct, but they think that it goes too far by saying it out loud. Mulvaney's the one running around like some cartoon of a woman, passing out tampons in the women's room and meeting with the president to defend the mutilation of children, but I went too far. Well, see, this is where we differ. Because in the culture war, I don't think it's possible to go too far by speaking truth. The truth is the truth. It is what it is. It's the reality. Are we going to defend it, or are we going to conceal it? Are we going to embrace it, or are we going to hide from it? You can't have it both ways. When it comes to gender ideology, the truth is ugly. It is brutal and harsh and disgusting. I wish it wasn't that way, but it is. I didn't make it that way. I didn't create the ugliness. I'm merely pointing to it and saying, look at this. Look at it for what it is.
And while I don't typically like going after people's appearances, I prefer to stay on topic. What was put forward by Dylan Mulvaney specifically were comments about the new appearance, the facial feminization surgery, and how now Dylan was so beautiful that Dylan was gonna steal your husbands from you because these procedures happened, this makeup and this lighting and all that in these photos. Let me take off the glasses because I'm gonna show one of these photos on screen again. Made Dylan pretty enough for that, and Dylan's now a superwoman, a harlot. And again, this is yet another negative stereotype of women that Dylan is now putting on. So the question you really need to ask yourself is that if you are making the case, and have made the case in the past, that Dylan Mulvaney is essentially performing some form of a minstrel show, a lot of people call this woman face, for women in the most offensive way possible, covering multiple different negative stereotypes of women that show them to be overly emotional, overly ditzy, bimbo-ish, and in this case, acting like a harlot, then why are you trying to make it so Matt Walsh should say nicer things to this person about their appearance? Why is there this weird line when the appearance is part of the component of this performance that you all seem to agree is a performance? At least the personality that's being put forward is clearly a performance. And that's what bothers you so much, is that completely off limits. And Matt Walsh talked about in his video that he was making a podcast for his audience. So yes, he was preaching to his audience. And the idea that Matt Walsh needs to convert people by basically meeting Dylan Mulvaney and the Dylan Mulvaney types halfway never made any sense at all.
You say that I'm not going to convince the other side with this kind of rhetoric. But here's what you have to understand. This is very important. Convincing the other side is not my primary objective. This is the core difference between you and me. I'm not looking to reach an understanding with these people. I'm not interested in compromise and dialogue. For those who castrate children and attack the very concept of truth and erode the foundations of human civilization, my goal is to defeat and humiliate and demoralize them.
I mean, really, think about it like this. The differences between males and females are far less significant than the differences of people of the same gender/sex of different races. Yet, when Rachel Dolezal impersonated a black woman for years, got to a high position at the NAACP, people got really mad when Rachel Dolezal was exposed as a white person. This is despite the fact that by all accounts, Rachel Dolezal was actually a really good activist and really well liked by everybody in the organization. So this wasn't somebody who was doing blackface and then embracing the negative stereotypes of black people. This was somebody who was pretending to be a black person for sure, but was also doing positive work, at least among black people in their opinions, toward the goals that the organization was actually working towards, and this was still considered absolutely unforgivable. This woman became a joke. A mockery was made of her. Everybody made fun of her over and over and over again, and now she is the example, along with Elizabeth Warren, of people who impersonate people of other races. She got completely wrecked by our media. No kindness was delivered to her or anybody associated with her. Yet when Dylan Mulvaney is doing all these negative stereotypes of women, 100% negative stereotypes, that is considered, oh wait, we gotta have some limits. We gotta be a little bit nicer, because I don't know if you know this, Dylan Mulvaney has feelings.
You wish to defeat this man in a manner that will not make him feel bad about himself, but I'm here to tell you that you are delusional. I'm not going to protect your feelings any more than I'll protect his. You are deluding yourself. We got into this position in our culture precisely by valuing politeness over truth. We got here by doing exactly as you would have me continue doing, and what you blame me for not doing. We got here by refusing to speak the plain truth and by allowing the anti-truth brigade to emotionally blackmail us into silence.
Rachel Dolezal apparently has no feelings at all whatsoever, can be attacked maliciously by the left wing, despite the fact that everything about her career and everything about her embracing being a black person was to help them due to left-wing beliefs. But all of a sudden, when you're right-wing and you disagree with the negative depictions that Dylan Mulvaney puts forward, when you disagree specifically with the claims that Dylan Mulvaney can steal people's husbands, playing into that harlot stereotype, all of a sudden, you better come correct, you better come polite, you better be nice, because Matt Walsh, I don't know if you know this, if you say that you don't find Dylan Mulvaney attractive, apparently then people aren't going to be on your side when it comes to the trans issues and whether or not we should trans as children. If you don't say that Dylan Mulvaney actually looked quite nice in that dress at the Grammys or whatever this stupid event was, apparently the left is going to trans as your kids twice as hard, and that's really something that you need to consider. Look, I'm really not trying to strawman people on this side. I'm actually quite friendly with a couple of people that were critical of Matt Walsh, but the thing is, they really have no argument at all. All of the people that they're talking about that support Dylan Mulvaney, the people that supposedly Matt Walsh should be nicer and talk about how pretty Dylan is in order to convert, hate Matt Walsh. They want bad things to happen to Matt Walsh. They can't stand him. They call him like a Christian Nazi fascist and all of that, so he's not going to win them over anyway. And to Walsh's point, this is somebody who's going beyond your regular transit stuff and actually is just making a mockery of everything female by hamming up the performance around the ditziness and all these negative stereotypes. So the idea that he is supposed to meet this person on an equal playing field and battle it out in the battlefield of ideas and treat those ideas like they're valid contributions to the political discourse is nonsensical. Unfortunately, in our society, Dylan Mulvaney has power and influence over politicians, and Matt Walsh barely has any. So Matt Walsh needs to undercut the basis of that power by undercutting Dylan Mulvaney as a person. So I actually 100% agree that when you look at all of these people who supposedly agree on the core of the issue, that Matt Walsh is in the right here. There's no dispute in my mind. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Maybe you're actively leaving your wife for Dylan Mulvaney right now in this moment, and if you are doing so, please let me know down in the comments below. If you liked the video, then show me by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via the support links in the description box of this video. This has been me talking about this whole Matt Walsh kerfuffle. Till next time.